everybody, welcome back. We're doing another Marvel Future Revolution video. In this one, we're going to be talking about gold. Do you want to get a ton of it? I've got a ton of it. Saw a video the other day where it was they were talking about how that is still a bottleneck in the game, and my initial response was, what? No, it's not. Like, yeah, I have tons. And I don't know if it was my techniques or whatever, but then I got some other people saying, well, you know, like not a lot of people have as much gold as you do, right? And I'm like, well, I'm not doing anything special. So I'm like, I got a strong character. I got a couple other strong or relatively decent characters. I'm like, you know what? I need to make a video on this. So I'm going to share with you how I get so much gold. I have, well, you know what? I'm not going to spoil it. I'll show you in the video. If you're new to the channel, check out the Discord link in the description below. Easiest way to follow along with content. Hammer down like buttons, click notification bell, subscribe, all that sort of stuff if you want to help the algorithm out. And they got a support function now for YouTube, which is awesome. So if you want to do the membership thing, it's down that way somewhere. It always appreciate you. All right, let's get to it.
Bring me WolverThor!
Okay, so gold. I start off in headquarters here because I first want to talk a little bit about how you can spend gold. So there are a number of things in the headquarters that you can spend gold on. There are certainly things in game that you need to spend on gold. I would not recommend, you know, shorting those things. Things like, let's see here. You need to crunch Omega cards. You need to do potential. You know, you need to do all those. Now we'll talk about different characters in a second. Specializations, you kind of need to do these. I think your actual bottleneck is going to be more of this anti-convergium than it is going to be gold. Oh, spoiler alert, there's my gold amount. 77 million. Okay, I am doing, again, nothing crazy here. So I got 77 mil. Now, I've been playing soft launch, and I've been smart about my gold. I've been semi-frugal about my gold, and I've been farming all day, every day for a long time now. And I'll talk about that sort of at the end, about how I sort of pull that off. I don't know if I'll give my areas up. It changes every patch anyway, or every time they add new areas, so it doesn't really matter. But anyway, so those are some areas that you definitely want to spend gold in, right? So some areas that maybe you don't want to spend gold in. You come over here, this convergence box, or the combining cores. Now, I don't actually have, let's see if I'll grab some from storage here real quick. I would not even, okay, I don't have a lot. Well, anyway, we'll just grab 3 of those. So even the 1 stars, I stopped doing these. It is, you know, the bottlenecks here are going to be more convergium than anything else, but it does cost gold still. The way I advise you for this is, don't open your core well, hold on. If you're a new player, you want to get to the point where you've got these 4 stars, you know, and then you'll start trickling in some 5 stars. I personally don't recommend even doing these 5 stars. There's a 20% chance here you're using materials. That's terrible. It's absolutely terrible, a conversion rate. I'm actually hoping and trying to pitch to Netmarble that they should fix this. I think they need to retroactively change these. I'm okay with, you know, some, you know, pity here or some, you know, grind of the cores if that's their system. That's like, this is the hardest thing. But there are so many other RNG elements in the game with getting the stats you want, getting the cards you want, getting the gear you want, that it's really sort of tough on the palate to have a system like this where you can just straight up have a fail rate. Specialization used to be similar, but they eventually introduced the pity system. So with cores, I think they need to do something along those lines too, that you're only, you know, every one that you fail, I wouldn't say 5%, I'd say 10%, because this just, it's a waste minimum. Frankly, I think they need to increase the percentages here. So anyway, first thing is don't go nuts combining cores and spending gold on that. Again, I don't even, you know, I've got so many of these saved up now. I don't even open the boxes anymore because it's just, you can see I've got all these core boxes in here because I'm like, I'm not going to open these because they're just going to take up space in my bags, and I'm not going to do it. I'm just not. And you know what? If they never do anything with it, then maybe I'll dismantle them or something. I don't know. But for now, I'm sitting and waiting. All right. Next thing is we've got this convergence box. So the convergence box in itself is not that great. They've added some things to make it a little bit better. I mean, I love getting, so when I see these like potential reports, I'll go ahead and run it on that, even though I typically don't get them. So you'll get something like that. So this part of it's fine because you're only using the sim particles, but the extraction part, depending what you're doing here, can cost gold. So let's unlock this just so you see it. So it's like, okay, that's 1,000. And now it's not a ton, but you know, if you do this a bunch, it could cost a lot of gold. So I actually don't crunch that many badges. I only do the stuff that you find on your maps as you're leveling up the first time. And I only do the stuff that you get from training grounds. That's it. Because you can see I've got 143 sim particles. And as soon as I get a roll like something like that, where it's just, no, I don't want any of that, I just stop. I don't realize crystals locking anything. I was talking to Ravager Britcher the other day. He does lock the 500,000 gold on here. That might be worth it. I think, what is it, 50 crystals? Yeah, so that one, that's probably worth locking for 50 crystals to try to get that. Otherwise, nah. So anyway, I would save on Convergence box, not really do that. I mentioned earlier the potential. So I've got it all here. As I go through the other tune, because I'm going to show you guys my other tunes a little bit here, but be on your secondary tunes, be smart about your path. You know what I mean? Like maybe the first one, maybe you don't worry about HP too much. You save some of your stuff to get, you know, ultimate gauge recovery on the second one, and crit damage and crit rate on the third. And, you know, maybe you're skipping attack to get crit rate and crit damage again. And, you know, once you're like, well, the last one's kind of trash, so I'm going to go back up and do these other ones that are attack. So the other, each character is different on what they have, but this is a way that you could save a little bit of gold on your alts. On your main, do them all. Don't even think about it. And again, specialization on your alts, or even on your main. You can see I've done zero. I haven't done any of this. I didn't like this at all, so I'm not putting anything in it. I've got a couple that I don't really use anymore, but actually that looks like it's the only one that I didn't do any on. So, but some that I don't use anymore, I'm not going to max, right? So I don't waste gold or mats on that as well. That's something that, like I mentioned earlier, your bottleneck is likely going to be special, or the anti-convergium, but I still wouldn't do it. One of the next things I want to mention is the actual transmute system. So when you do this, I would not, let's see, do I have anything in here that I can easily show? Let's just show this. So you can go through here and, oh, it's equipped. Let's do this one. So you can go through here and select this and do the relay transmute. I do not recommend that. It can instantly make a gold disappear by rolling to whatever you pick from your target that you want. I don't like that. Even transmuting for 100,000 gold a pop, there are people who spend 5 to 14 million gold. So I am somebody who's not had to transmute a lot. I think that's part of the reason why I've got a lot of my gold as well. I recommend being really wise about and thinking through when you're going to transmute. Don't just on a whim, you know, think, you know what, I'm switching to Spider-Man today, so I'm going to transmute everything. And then a day later, you're going to roll back to like Iron Man or something. So that is a total and utter waste of gold. I would not do it. Make sure that you're thinking real hard about that. And at the same time, I definitely recommend min-maxing, you know, your stuff here, where I was looking for specific items on these cards for sure. If it was a PvP card, I wanted an increase, you know, as you can see, I was rolling a lot of those. For my PvE stuff, I wanted total damage, and I rolled it until I got total damage on those. You can see every one of those exclusive stats is total damage. So I would be smart about your transmute, because you can lose a ton of gold doing that. So now you got to use all, like, again, this is a spot where you've got to use, you know, gold. I don't hesitate for any of these. I always do these. Don't even think about it. You know, I get when I combine my cards, I do it. There's nothing to lose there. Same thing with the gear. Anytime I've got gear and I'm ready to build something up, I come here and I crunch it. And I'm not going to, and now likely your bottleneck is going to be more like your convergium than your gold, but you're crunch this, crunch. Do not hesitate doing this. I think it's going to be fine to go ahead and use that. So next up, this is where we're going to start. Well, actually, before I get there, so companions, because I can do this just here. So companions, this is what I would recommend: is build up the ones like the specials. When you're starting, build up the specials. That's these guys, the ones with the red backgrounds. Build these up, meaning upgrade with the stats here, the stars here. You can see that's just to get the 3 stars, 150k. these get really, really expensive really quick. So, but I always recommend doing that. Now, I don't do the level ups, but it doesn't cost gold, right? I only do the level ups on my characters that I actually know that I want to use as a drop or as I want to equip. So go ahead and do these guys up, get all the stars that you want at first for these, the ones that you're going to use. But the ones you're not using, I would recommend not doing that until you get to a point where you do have a nice stash of gold. It wasn't until recently that I started taking all of these, sort of common ones and seeing if I had an upgrade and bringing them up, like as you can see, to get to 5 stars, 250K. And at first I wasn't touching these guys, but now I'm to the point where I'm like, you know what? I want now, if he's a special, but I want to do it. You can see, what's that, 200K there? I do it for all of them. You can see all of my companions I'm building up. I got Chuckles at 5 stars. I would 6-star him if I could. That's 300K. There's a ton of gold there, but your bottleneck is going to be the actual shards itself. And you want to do that because you do get some collection stat bonuses. Not a lot, but a little bit. So is, 29 defense worth 300K gold? No, it's not. Even the levels before that, it's not. So for that reason, you want to save gold until you get a giant stash of it. And then you want to go ahead and start bringing them up. So, all right. So that part. So now skills. So I'll show you Widow. I think on Widow, I actually have all my skills maxed 15, 15, 15, 15. Yeah. Everything on Widow, because she's my main. So I have all of these maxed. I have all of them unlocked. I'm not sitting on any of them that I haven't unlocked. And for, actually, and this is how your main should be. So you want to have them all that way. And now, granted, I'm never using any of these really, but I wanted to test them, right? And you obviously max that. Now, ults though is a different question. So I'm going to switch to I'm going to switch to Scarlet Witch first because she's one of the new ults that I just recently got and I wanted to try to build up. And with her, I actually, if I recall correctly, for all of her skills, I believe I did them all. Let's see, 15s all the way across. Yeah, 15s all the way across. And I know I unlocked the same thing. So I unlocked all of those for her because I knew I wanted to play her and I knew I wanted to build her up. Now, while I'm on her, this is what I was talking about earlier with that potential. See how I did all the attack, but I didn't go into defense and HP? See here how I did all of these because they're good skills? And then as you can see here, I just did, which ones? I did 2 here cooldown and attack, but I skipped guard damage. Here I did stam and cooldown before I did attack. And here, these aren't bad, they're good, but I'm doing these other ones first. So that's, again, a way to save some gold, okay? Specializations while I'm looking at her. I've done all the little ones, as you can see as I moved around, but I haven't done all of the other ones. Now, again, I'm still building her up, and as you can tell, that's where my bottlenecks are. My bottlenecks are the anti-convergium. So that, like I said, that's where your bottleneck's going to be with that. So let's look, jumping back to skills again. So this is the fastest way to change heroes, by the way. So let's go to Captain Marvel. That was the first character that I started on. I think I leveled her to 40 or 50, and because you have to level multiple characters in the game to get a squad rank build up, I switched to Black Widow for the next one. All right, so here, okay, this is a perfect example. See these levels, 10, 4, 10, 4, 11, 4, 10, 10, 15, 15. So, and you can see, I didn't bother unlocking those. This one, let's see, I didn't bother unlocking those, so it's not a lot, but it saves me 30K. Same thing there. Now, I could level up fine with this. Each level on that, it's 79. And once you get to the 13, 14, 15, it's 100,000 per level. Some of them are 150,000. So I've saved a bunch of gold with that because I'm not playing this character. Now, if I ever play her like Scarlet Witch, I'll build them up, but I didn't do that with her. Again, potential, I could probably do more with her potential, but I haven't. There's not a lot. There's 100. Specialization, I haven't touched either at all. So but again, she's not one I'm playing in the slightest. Looking at another character maybe that I play a little bit, or that I sort of built up. Let's see, I think Star-Lord I started building up a bit. So we'll look at him. It's going to be similar though, maybe a little bit in between like a Scarlet Witch and what I just showed you with Captain Marvel. So let's go to the potential first. Again, not a lot that I could do. I've only got 59. You can see that I've done some, but not a bit. Specializations. I've actually done some. Oh no, I haven't done any specializations on him. Okay, I must have ran out. Maybe it was Iron Man. So we'll check Iron Man out. But skills. So you can see a bunch of 15s. I think and then the other ones I've left at 1. 15, 15, 15. Yeah, so the ones that I thought were the best PvE ones, I went and got those and left the other ones alone. And that's what it's going to be like for all of these. I found out what I believe to be the best PvE, because that's all I was going to use him for. I wasn't going to PvP with him, but I knew I was going to PvE with him. So I used those, and that was pretty much it. I was kind of like, okay, well, once I got that, I'm good. I'm not going to touch anything else in there. And so I save a bunch of gold. Now, I mentioned Iron Man. So he's one that he was the first one that I fully built up as an on alt. Where is he at? So he was my second 120 character, and Scarlet Witch was my third. So with him, I've got some decent fodder on him. I've got some Rise of the East that I transmuted to him. You can see, and it's 6-star, and the other 2 pieces I think are Hydra. Yeah, Hydra 5. That's just random pieces that I had. Okay, badges. He's like 1.2 million. Nothing insane, but he's the one that I went in and potential. I could throw some potential on him. I'll do that at some point. That's just stuff I've probably picked up recently from training grounds. Specialization, though, I actually found the ones that I wanted for him, built them up, and skipped the other ones. I talked to people who knew Iron Man. I found the ones that I wanted to get. You know, I didn't do all of the ones that I didn't care about. I just made sure to focus to get around and get stats that I really wanted. Skills, again, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, all these 15 except for this one. I believe this is probably one that when I talked to my Iron Man friends, said it's trash, so I didn't touch it. All these other ones, let's see. It looks like I didn't unlock all of them, but again, saving gold on the ones that I won't use. Okay, so that is the way to save a bunch of gold, where you're like not spending on something. Like this one I got to 15, and it's just for the, by the way, that's a great ability for anybody doing support in Alliance raid. Even EMP shot to get the buff, that's a great one. Same thing with like Crow. Anyway, so that's a way to save gold. Now, the question is, so that I'm talking about a lot of ways to save gold, ways that you don't want to necessarily spend it. Now, the key in probably all of this is, how do you get gold? Obviously, do your dailies, right? That, I think that goes without saying. I don't necessarily go, like, I don't think I've ever bought any gold in the stores. You can certainly go here and, you know, buy this stuff. I've never done any of this. I don't touch it. Any gold I get is from it's a random from another offer somewhere. And again, 77 million gold. You know what I mean? So that was a little over the top, I suppose. But no, I could be more over the top than that. I take that back. But that's a ton, right? So I'm not in here buying gold or doing whatever, right? So you really need to find an area is somewhere in the highest zone that you can. I'm in Dark Domain. You know, and it just pick a spot that works for you. I'm just gonna look here. So when I look at this map, I'm looking for areas that I can farm people that I'm not gonna get a boss. Because because when I'm AFK farming and I'm not looking at it, like I make sure I have tons of bag space, and I make sure that I can get it dismantled. I don't know. I mean, overnights you can't. It just is what it is. But if you have a lot of bag space, it's not a big deal. But you want to have it so it can go several hours or overnight where you're not gonna die, because you can't check it. So, you know, I look at this, I see this space here. Or there are enemies there that I can sit there and farm and not be pulled, because sometimes when you AFK, sometimes it'll pull you up. Over here, that's probably a little dangerous. Maybe in here might be okay. I don't know. Those are spots you want to look at. You want to look at channels where there's not a lot of people. You know, in here, if there's stuff down here, stuff up here, stuff up here, stuff down here. Those are spots you want to come and find in these higher level areas. That this one's a little bit tougher, you know, maybe here. I know my guy Halfsen farms here all day, but he's crazy strong, so he's fine. He can literally, Mephisto can spawn and he'll kill him. But if you're worried about stuff like that, you've got to go to an area that you're not going to be a threat for spawning here. This one's a little risky because you could easily get pulled into a boss. But that's what you want to do. You want to get here at here's a great area for somebody who might not be all the way up, but isn't early in Dark Domain, because there's no bosses here. There's got to be mobs in there. That can't be all story. Even if you're, that one's not so bad. Let's go to like, if you're not in Sakar, if I remember right, I think I did, this one's pretty tough. Let's see, Ares area. you know, over here is probably a great one for Sakar. And these are great things to farm the crafting mats too, for regionals. You want this for crafting regional mats as well. It's just, this stuff is critical. You know, same thing with here maybe, where you're not going to run into any bosses. In Midgardia, I used to always love to farm, you know, this spot right here. I think there's some up over here too that you can farm as well. These are great spots to farm and get those regional mats. I talked earlier about having stuff in my, I probably got all my alts, but you know, these type of regional mats that you might want to build, I've got so many of these on different alts, at least with Midgardia. I think in Dark Domain, I've probably got 30,000. It's sort of crazy. And again, that's it. I do that. I dismantle all my badges up to 5 stars at this point. The only ones that I don't dismantle obviously are 6 stars. If I get a Dormammu badge at 5 stars, I do currently, and I don't know how much longer I'm going to do this, I do keep these. So you can see here, I do keep those. I lock them so that I don't auto dismantle those. So when I'm clicking here and I click the 5, like, so when I click here and I do this, it doesn't select them. So that's why I have those locked. But otherwise, I dismantle it. And you can get a crazy amount of Convergium and a crazy amount of gold. You see this Convergium I have here? I want to show, this is how I'm going to end this video. You saw the 77 million. This is the thumbnail pick right here. Let's see. What does this look like? Yeah. Okay. That is what you do. You know what I mean? And I don't even have all of it here. I think I thrown a bunch of it on Scarlet Witch. Yeah, I do, because I don't even have the main stuff here. This isn't even all of it. I've got like 7,000 of these green ones on Scarlet Witch. And I think like 1,000 or 2,000 of the big ones because of that farming method. So anyway, that's where I'm going to leave it to you guys. I know this video is really long, but I'm hoping it's helpful. Honestly, that's how I get this gold. I don't think gold is as big of a bottleneck. Yes, I could be spending it on some of those skills, but why? Like, why? What am I going to do that for? Like, I'm not going to jump back and forth between transmuting nonstop either. I like my character. You know what I mean? And now if I'm not sure about my character, sure, spend a little bit, but that's not going to drain 50 or 60 million from me. You know what I mean? So anyway, use those techniques, be patient. Again, I've been playing since soft launch. We're approaching a year to that. I've probably been using this method for at least 4 to 6 months, I'd say, to help build this. You do that, I guarantee you're going to get a lot of gold. All right. So I hope this has been helpful. Like I mentioned earlier, we got a Discord link in the description below. If this is helpful for you, feel free to hammer down like buttons, click notification bell, subscribe, all that sort of thing. Like I mentioned, if you want to help support the channel as well, there's that membership link or join or whatever it is that YouTube's got going. Appreciate that. And that's all I got. So until next time, I hope you have a wonderful day.